Hey everyone, it's Kylie with Paradigm again. Today we're going to be looking at tour creation and editing. So first off, I wanted to start off at the Paradigm login screen, just in case you weren't exactly familiar with getting started on this part. Maybe you aren't a member yet and you just want to take a quick peek. So we're going to go ahead and put in our username and our password. I'm going to check the box to keep me signed in and hit sign in. Oh, hold on just a second. Okay, it's going to prompt me to put in a new password, to which I'm going to go ahead and do. All right, okay, so we are in. So it brings me to my settings page first. I'm actually going to start us off with clicking on our name in the upper right. We are going to go to My Tours. So we don't have a tour in here just yet, so we're going to have to start one from scratch. So to start one, of course, you can go to here, Create New. So you'll see that there's 6 different templates that you can choose from. The one that we're going to choose is property tour. That's if you're looking to create a tour that you're looking to rent or sell. You would always use a property tour. That is going to go out to all the real estate websites that your brokerage or yourself has opted into, and then any social media networks that you've connected. Now, the buyer tour, on the other hand, that one actually doesn't go out anywhere. This is mainly if you want to make something for a specific person or party, you would choose the buyer tour. You have to manually send these out. This can be really great for out-of-state buyers if you wanted to utilize it for that, or you can utilize it for personal purposes, solely up to you. These other 4, these will go to social media only unless you paste them somewhere else. Now, if you have any questions about any of these, you're always welcome to call us if you'd like. I would recommend maybe making a neighborhood tour if there is a lot of listings in a certain neighborhood that you typically work in. You can not only show the listing, but you can also show the neighborhood that it's located in. Again, that's something that's really good for out-of-state buyers, or maybe they can't get out very often. This is very helpful. A community event, maybe they're an active family. You can make an event, say maybe like a concert in the area, or maybe there is a family owned zoo you would like to go ahead and create a tour for. Agent office promo, just kind of like a video of why they should choose you as their real estate agent. Testimonials will typically be testimonials of satisfied customers or clients from the past. Now, as of right now, we're going to go ahead and choose property tour. All right, so I do want to go through here and get this started. So the title, technically all that you need is a title to proceed. So I'm actually going to just fill that out for the time being. That way I can show you where you can edit this at another time. Hit next. All right, it's going to bring me to a page to drop my photos and videos here. So you'll notice right here, maximum file size is going to be 500 megabytes, or the max video duration is going to be up to 6 minutes. So it doesn't have to be a entire video clip full 6 minutes. You can do multiple shorter clips if you desire, which actually is recommended. So I'm going to hit my computer here, go over to my listing. Now, some people think you can only copy one at a time. That is not the case. So if you wanted to copy multiple ones, you would just want to put your mouse in an area where it is not clicking on a photo, press and hold your left mouse button, and then highlight all the photos you plan on putting into your tour. And you'll see that it's actually got all of them selected here. So we're going to go ahead and hit open. You'll notice there's a cancel up here. It's actually going to switch over to a green done button once they are finished uploading. We'll give that just a moment here because I actually had quite a few different photos. You'll see one here looks like it's having a little bit of trouble. I'm going to click where it says Lunar Eclipse Drive. And that's going to bring me over to my tour. So from here, I did want to point out first, this tour is in draft mode. And then it gives a time of when it's going to automatically publish. If you do not want that to publish at that time, maybe you need a little bit of extra time to work on it, hit change. And you can either add some hours onto that, or you can choose, I will manually publish this tour at a later time. So I'm going to choose that one for the time being, hit save. Now I can work on this tour indefinitely until I'm ready. And once I am, all I got to do is hit where it says publish up here, right up above my name. This is the street or whatever you named it as the title. Here is your tour number, just in case you need to reference that if you have questions. Now, preview, if you want to preview the tour. You can also hit this down arrow if you want to view it in a different type of format. You're welcome to do that, or just hit preview for desktop version. You can hit delete on here if you desire. I typically don't recommend deleting tours. You can have a showcase of all your sold listings, and you can actually show people, hey, here's what I've sold in the past. Here is what I'm capable of. However, that is not always the case. Some people want to have everything nice and tidy and clean. You can delete them if you desire. It's up to you. Tour strength, that is not a grading scale. Don't take it that way. It is just for suggestions. So even though it says improve my score, there's plenty of things on here that may not work. Maybe this was a land listing. That's not going to apply. Open house is not going to work for that. Other things on here like voice narration, things of that nature. Maybe I just don't want to go over and fill some of this out. It's just suggestions. So keep that in mind. Returning back over to what's called the tour dashboard here. I'm going to go ahead and point out right now, these photos are not in the right order, but we'll cover that here in just a second. Over on the left is property tour. So that will always tell you what type of tour template that was used in order to create it. Details right here will bring us over to the information tab, the property details. So lunar eclipse drive, you can see that here. This is where I can add my description once I'm ready. Here's the address and area that I can fill out here, which I'll just go ahead and do this number. I'm going to say it's 25806 Lunar Eclipse Drive. And it's going to be located, let's just say, how about Knoxville? That'll work just fine. And put in a random zip code. Now you can also put a subdivision area in here. You can also go through and view this on the map. You can update the geocode from here. It'll say undefined if you did not have an address in here before. Scrolling down from there and hitting details tab, this provides the MLS number, which I will go ahead and just put in a fake one so you can see where all it appears. Listing site link. You can actually link it over to the website if you desire. Property type, you can change this based on what type of tour that it is. You can even put it as unknown if you desire. That's solely up to you. Subcategory you can change as well. Price. Now, when you put in the price, there is something I do want to mention. Do not put any commas or periods. We only accept the numbers, and we will stick those commas or periods in as necessary. Hide price. If you desire to hide the price, that's perfectly fine. If you want to, just check that box. You can put in the year built as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this is a, okay, year built. Let's just say it was built this year. And change the bedrooms on here. And you'll see here you have your bathrooms. You can do a quarter bath, half bath, 3/4 bath, full. So you can kind of go through there and see all the different types that are available as well. I'm just going to say 5. So I'll say that there's 4 baths. And let's just say there's a half bath. Just go through and maybe put that like that. Whatever you want to put, 3/4 bath, 1/4 bath, square footage. You can also update this as well. No periods or commas. Do want to go ahead and mention that again. You do not want to put periods or commas here. Garages, you can go ahead and put up to 10 or none. I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 for now. You can put the school area. Here's where user field 1, 2, and 3 are. Those are mainly based for categorizing your listings. This is only accessible by you and not your clients or anybody who's watching it. You may remember this if you've watched the settings and dashboard tutorial video. Uh, if you wanted to use it, say for like maybe this listing is a rental and residential, you can go ahead and fill those fields out from there. If you want to know a little bit more about these guys here, you can watch the tutorial video for the settings and dashboard page. It goes a little bit more in depth there. You can add an open house date and time from here, as well as a property ID. I made some changes, so we always want to remember to hit save in the upper right underneath our name. Good news, real estate distribution. So I only had one site set up as far as that was concerned for the listing itself. I do not want to send it out yet. So I'm just going to go back up here where it says Lunar Eclipse Drive, and it brings us back to our tour dashboard. Next thing on our list, amenities. Amenities is just a list of amenities that you can check off if they apply to the listing. If not, leave them blank and hit save. Typically, this is not an area that I see used too often. Most of the time, you'll see agents or yourself, for example, putting all the types of amenities in the description, which can be found back inside of details here. All right, scrolling down from there, we have our scene section. Add scene is just to add additional photos or video clips if I desired. I do not recommend adding, there's not technically really a limit to how many you can add, but if you add so many, sometimes you can get the audience's loss of interest and they won't watch the whole thing. So I wouldn't necessarily add a ton of photos on here. I would only do the best ones and just a few, maybe 50 max, but it just depends on what type of listing it is and how much information needs to be displayed. All right, so create panoramic. The create panoramic page is actually to create stitching photos together to create these panoramics. So I typically say this option works really well, but you can also take panoramics straight from the spot with most cameras and even phones nowadays. So there's not really a reason you have to use this, but you're welcome to use it if you desire. You'll want to take slightly overlapping photos and then come home and stitch them together. One thing about this, if you mess up when you are taking those multiple shots, you won't find out until you're home. So if you take the panoramic on the spot with your phone or camera, then you can confirm, oh, I messed up on this little part, and then you can just retake it on the spot instead of having to redo the whole thing. Just wanted to kind of point that out. There are pros and cons to this. Going back to the main tour dashboard here, we have rearrange. I'm going to go ahead and do that just because we don't want all this jumbled up. So you'll see here, I want to put this and this. So I might actually just do this first. So we don't want the flowers showing right before the dining room. We'll go ahead and start there. We'll start moving these photos up and then get those going. Add those in here. Just a quick switcheroo. Okay, maybe you want to display some of the landscape on here. You know, maybe there's a beautiful garden, maybe there's some nice areas here. So, like for example, you'll see here, there is a nearby waterfall in this area. So I'm going to move these down here. Maybe put the drive up here. You can just put some of the photos. You can just kind of sift through those if you want. Solely up to you how you want to rearrange this. And then you can might want to even go through and say, hey, you know, there's a very beautiful view in the backyard. So you can just rearrange how you desire. Just click and drag. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. All right. Now you'll notice that we rearranged the photos, but this guy over here on the left-hand side is showing the old first photo. If you want to update that, all you need to do is scroll down to the one that you want to change it to. I want the front of the home, so I'm going to hit where it says make cover. Once I click on that, it instantly updates that and you'll see it's now correct. That is your default photo or your thumbnail. So keep that in mind. That is the first photo that they are going to see, especially if it's on YouTube, for example. So you want to make sure that is the front of the home. Now, if you wanted to showcase something else, maybe the exterior front area, if that's what you wanted to do, perfectly fine. That's up to you. Just hit make cover to the right of whichever one you want it to be. With that being said, we're going to actually, before we go any further to the options section, we're going to hop up here and we're going to look at some of these. We've already looked at make cover, so we don't have to worry about that now. Next thing is details. Let's take a look at that real quick. So you'll notice that this is a scene details. We can actually make changes to the photos themselves. You can actually also see the size of the photos. So this is a rather smaller photo. It may appear pixelated. So usually you'll want to have some larger photos in your tour. From here, the caption, you can change that. If you don't want anything to appear, just take it out. You can also have a description on each photo. You do have a maximum amount of 5,000. I do not recommend putting a massive description on each one of these photos because this will appear on the photo itself and will start covering up the image. So I would not type out a lot of stuff. If you have something else to say, I would go ahead and just put it in the tour description or put it on another photo. Down below, there's a show more option here we can click on, and there's some extra items we can take a look at. Flyer only. So maybe you do not want this particular item to be in the flyer. Choose flyer only. Branded only, let's just say we want this on our MLS, but here we have Castle and Cottage Realty. So if I wanted to put this tour on my MLS, I am very, very likely to go against the rules and regulations having that type of branding in here. So if I don't want that to show up in the unbranded tour, I'm going to check that box, and that will make sure it is only appearing in the branded tour and not the unbranded. So the transition effect, dissolve is our most popular. There's a couple different ones from here. You can choose none, random, which of course would be random, and then you can wipe from right. The pan zoom effect, that is typically random. You can zoom in or out based on it. Do keep in mind, depending on the dimensions of the photo, it may not do exactly what you're wanting it to do. So keep that in mind. I'm going to choose random. Fit in window, do not scroll panos. So if you do not want this photo moving whatsoever, check that box. It'll make it sit still until it segues into the next photo. So this is basically not going to be doing anything. All right, and then duration, you'll notice here, this is by seconds. 5 seconds is the default. If you want to adjust that per photo, you can. Or if you feel like maybe you want to change all of them to 4 seconds, maybe you just, a little bit too long. See that little piece of paper right there? Click on that. That would update all the photos in the tour. So I just want to point that out. These also have that same option. So if you wanted to go through each scene and add caption or description, you can just go ahead and hit that button and it saves it and goes to the next scene. Or you can just hit save if you were just planning on doing the first one, and it'll show that those settings have been saved. And I'll go back to the main screen here. All right, scrolling back down again, next, beside of details, we have edit. This is just to edit the photo itself. Let's choose another photo. How about this one? All right, maybe we want to edit this drive-in photo, the drive to the house. You can rotate it if it's not in the right position. You can flip it. You can adjust it. You'll see here there's brightness, contrast, sharpen, color. So I'm just going to hit done there. And then enhance. There's different things you can do on here as well. You'll see that. And you can also crop it. 3x2, 4x3, 16:9, or you can do a custom. Going back to the main screen, next from here is replace. That is just to swap one photo out for another to leave everything else the same, and that does include the order of the photos, any settings you may have set in details. So if you have multiple photos you need to replace, do not use this option. If you need to do more than say 5, for example, I recommend just deleting the photos, adding them, and then rearranging them. Otherwise, this step could actually take longer. Just wanted to point that out. There's another common misconception here. Delete. You do not have to do one scene at a time. So you can actually choose all the ones you want, and you'll notice that number up there in the bar is going up. So I don't want to delete these, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit cancel. And we already covered make cover, so we are good there. We're going to scroll down a little bit here. Over on the left, under the options section where we left off, is auto voice narration. Let's take a quick peek at that. So currently I have nothing set up. If I want to see some options, I'm going to either have to choose tour or scenes. So if I choose tour, this is where my description would appear. So if I wanted to type in, this is a tour, you can choose whichever voice you want. And then you can hit preview to see what it sounds like. So if, let's just say, for example, they don't pronounce something correctly, you can come in here and spell things phonetically the way they sound, that way that it does pronounce it correctly. No one is actually going to see what's in this page but you. They'll see the regular tour description, but if maybe they're running through their words way too quick to focus on, You can add some extra periods or commas for longer pause times. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you need to make adjustments, or maybe you need to misspell something, make it phonetically sound, then you can do this from here. No one will see this but you, but the audience will hear it. If you want to do scene by scene, you can have a different type of flow. I like this one the best just because if you have a really large description, and you're talking about a bunch of different things, different rooms, you might be on maybe a kitchen photo, for example, and it's talking about the backyard already. So, scene by scene flow is a much better way to go about it if you desire to go through and type out a description for each one. Now, you don't have to do a description for every single one of these, that's perfectly fine. You can do a few of them if you want, and then leave some of them blank if you desire. I'm going to leave mine set to none. I'm just going to go through and hit lunar eclipse away, or drive rather, and then go back to my main screen here. Now, one thing I did not mention just yet, if you don't like this, if it sounds robotic to you, or you just don't want to use it, for example, and you want to do the narration yourself, you can. Just download the Paradigm app on your phone. It's available for iPhone and Android, and you can do the narration yourself if you prefer. 3D model. So we don't create 3D models, but if you have one done, say through like Matterport or other dollhouse models, for example, companies that you can actually add the link in here. If you want it to show up before your tour starts, the Paradigm tour, you can just check that box and it'll come up first. All right, our next option is music. All right, for music, we have over 100 different songs that you can choose from. So just based on what type of music you want for that type of listing, maybe you want a certain type of mood for it. You can find pretty much everything, just about anything, honestly, that you want to have for that particular listing. So if you are satisfied with it, you can go ahead and preview, make sure it sounds good. We do not hit import. That's another common misconception. You want to hit save if that is the song that you want to use. If you have a certain song that you want to use, you can go to the import page. You do have to go through that you do accept responsibility for the music file that you're uploading. So keep that in mind. You do have to select that before you upload your own. Going back in the music, I do want to use, let's just say Morning Dew, and hit save. All right, scrolling back down here on the left-hand column, next is skin. We covered this a little bit inside of our settings and dashboard tutorial video. We're going to cover a little bit more on here. The older Flash viewers, I'll start off with, I do not recommend using these. Flash players are actually getting phased out by the browsers and will be obsolete soon. So I don't recommend getting used to these. They will not be there any longer, for actually very soon. We have two different ones that you can use currently, Fusion and Property Site. They both run HTML5, which is supported on pretty much just about any platform that you're using. So let's take a look at Fusion first. Now, I am not going to have it expanded because I don't have the entire screen on here, so I'm actually just going to make it a little bit smaller here so we'll be able to look at this. So once it loads up here, you're going to have a play button appear, and you can start playing it. Now, you'll notice that there's a sign over here that was covered in one of our other tutorial videos. That can be found inside of settings and viewer. You can choose a sign. So if you choose a sign from there, it will appear on all of your tours. So make sure they're typically generic. So if it's like a new listing, for example, and you have an older listing that's having issues selling, you don't want to put that on here. So you can do signs on a tour to tour basis, which is actually our next option we'll be taking a look at in just a moment. You can see the logo is appearing here, your information, and your chat tab. So the chat tab on here we set up back inside of our other tutorial video. So this is what appears whenever you enable click to chat. So if I engaged in it, I would need to put my name and my phone number to start the chat, and then it would give the introduction, and then from there, if you wanted to, you can engage with the customer. From here over on the left, you'll notice the rest of this information. There's a contact me section. We put in all of our information from here. There's a message me details, that way you can see where all this information appears. Schedule showing. There's a map area that you can access. share, more. These right here are custom tools. We'll be looking at that option in just a moment. This is where you can add additional items that you want to put on the tour. Maybe you got a floor plan that you don't want in the tour, but you want easily accessed. You can put these in here. I'll be showing you how to do that here in a moment. But right now, we're just going to take a look at what this is. And then from here, you can also change the language if need be. You can change it on a tour to tour basis. You can also change it on the overview. So just want to point that out. Search all listings. That is found for your website. You can look at it from there. One more thing, this is the tour. If you want to look at just the photos, you can kind of click on that little button and scroll through here to see all those photos. All right, so that was Fusion. Property site is a little bit different. So if we hit preview on this one, let me just decrease the size. Pull it down far a little bit. Okay. All right, so you'll see here that it looks like it's going through and just sifting through random photos. Now, a lot of people get confused by this as well. Common misconception. This is not the tour. This is kind of like an overview. So if you hit that down arrow right there, this brings you to take a look around. You got your gallery and you got your visual tour. If I wanted to pull that up, it would pull it up in Fusion View. They can also just kind of scroll down. They can see more photos, details, view flyer, schedule showing. So everything else that was available on the other one is on here. It's just a completely different type of layout. All right, I'm gonna exit out of that, go back over to the main screen. All right, scrolling back down from there, we covered skin. Next is sign. So kind of like I was showing you in skin, signs are kind of like little mini icons. They'll show down at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and they are present throughout the entire tour. So let's just say, for example, I wanted to do an open house for this weekend, or maybe I just want to do just listed. Water view. We have tons of different signs on here. If there is a specific one that you would like, you can actually contact our graphics team and they can review it to see if we can create one for you specific to your account. So let's just say, for example, I wanted to put coming soon. Well, I had a sign on it a moment ago. If you choose a sign from here and you already had a sign set inside of your settings page, the one that you choose on a tour to tour basis will override that one and appear here until you remove it. Once I save that, that does again return us back over to our dashboard here. The next one is language. We have the option of changing it from English to Spanish. We cannot have both at the same time. I have had that question a couple times. They can switch it as need be. I just want to let you know that is all that that one is. All right, so the custom tools, this was mentioned in Skin. Custom tools is where you can go in and you can add those extra menu options on there. So like the floor plan, maybe an inspection report, you want to add that in, but not have it in the tour that plays. So first, if you wanted to add a custom tool, you would hit add. This gives you the option of either choosing a link or a document. You'll see here you can name it, you can browse for the file, supported files on here, or you can just do a link. Maybe you have a Vimeo video that you had created or a photographer created it. You can put that link in here. That adds it as an extra menu option. All right, going back to the main screen, I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. We are now in the marketing section. So this will show you any sites that you opted into back inside your settings page. I did not do anything except for oodle.com. You would see other sites in here if you had enabled them. All right. So if you hover over that, you'll see actually an expiration date. This will typically be about 6 months past the tour's creation date. If you need to change that and push it out, you can. That's optional. Maybe you didn't sell it and you renewed it, for example, before it expired, so you still have the same MLS number. You don't typically have to worry about it going from an active to a sold status, but you will want to change out that expiration date to the new one. This is where you can do that. Social media campaign. So You have one in your dashboard, except this is on a tour to tour basis. You'll see this from here. You can see no social post found for this one. You can go to your tour dashboard and check that out. But this is in draft mode, so it is not going to go out until I put it in an active status. All right, link builder. So let's say we want to create an unbranded link for our MLS. Let's go in there. All right, so we have the option of this tour, my showcase, my broker showcase, or find tour button. For now, we just want to create one for this particular tour. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. Where do you want to place the link? You have several options here. You can see that here. I'm going to do my MLS and then hit next. Now, some of you may have step 3, which we skipped over. It'll choose the MLSs that are closest in the area to where you are. If you don't see yours on there, you can always choose other and then hit next, and that'll take you to step 4. So from step 4, how do you want it branded? This gives you different IDX options on here, depending on how laid back or restricted your MLS is. So I'm going to go with the basic unbranding and then hit next. All right, you'll see the link here. As well as here, you can copy either one of those. You can hit the copy button. If you wanted to add this link to your favorite, you can actually click here where it says add link to favorites. And we will just call this one unbranded link. And then save that. So where's that going to appear? Back at step 1. Here's your favorite section. And so instead of going through all the steps we did, all you have to do is hit next. Takes you straight to step 5. Now, this is not going to appear just on this particular tour. Any other tours that you may have, this setting will be the same. It'll be unbranded, but it'll be for that specific tour. If you need to make another one, you can always hit start over instead of hitting back several times. If you are finished, you can just go back to the main tour dashboard and you can copy and paste whatever link you need to put where. All right, from here, share. These are some sharing options for manual sharing. You'll notice the one on the very far right, that little envelope is actually an e-card. So if you ever want to send this to the seller sometime to see what it looks like, it's actually pretty nifty. It comes with a little presentation. Honestly, looks much better than just sending a link in an email to someone. So check that out sometime, send it to yourself. It's really nice. It has a nice formal appearance. Flyer builder, let's take a look at that. All right, so flyer builder. So over here, you can change the template. So back inside the settings page, you can change it for all tours, or you can choose a different type. So I want to choose this one, for example. I'll pick that one. I can change the colors on it if I desire to do that from here. Maybe I want to change it to a crazy color. Maybe I want to make it a little more solemn, however you want to do it. Same thing for text. You can do the title a little bit different. So if you have an open house coming up, you can mention that here. Now, the description, I do want to point out, when you have a description and it's very large, we only can house 750 characters in the description for the flyer, whereas the tour does hold 1,000. So just kind of want to point that out. If it exceeds that limit, you're going to see an ellipses or the 3 dots to show, hey, this is a bit too long. You're going to have to shorten it. All right, scrolling down a little bit further, we have our first 5 photos on the flyer. If you don't want them on the flyer, this is the only page you can hit that delete button. It moves it down in this available photo section where I can move a different one in its place. So you can see here, even if you wanted to rearrange them, you can just drag and drop, and that changes them from there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that one as well. That's the one I like. So this is a tour. I'm going to type that out that way you can see where this description appears. So this is what your flyer would look like here. You got your photos. This is the one that I chose. It's the Venice. You do not have to choose this one. Just wanted to show you one that I like. This will be all the information about the flyer. This is the description you'll see here, of course. You have your viewing tour. They can type that in if they want, powered by Paradigm. You also have your very basic disclosure, the date that it was printed. There is even a QR code on here. So if anybody uses QR codes, they can also scan it and watch the tour. All right. If you're done viewing the flyer and want to get out of that little area, just click away from it and it brings you back to Flyer Builder. If you are satisfied with how it looks, just go ahead and hit save. All right, this brings it back over to the tour dashboard, but if we want to print it off, we need to scroll back down. Don't click on Flyer Builder. There is actually a download button we want to click on. This will pull it up in a PDF form to print it off. Leads. So if you have any leads, they will appear here. You will be notified via email or text message, depending on how you have it set up inside your settings page and the Paradigm app on your phone. So you do not have to log in to be able to see if you have a new lead. All right, from here we have our mobile target lead capture. So what exactly is this? So mobile target lead capture, essentially what this does is you can text this number to this number and they will get information about the listing. So you can either hit get started or activate this free service today based on which one that you want to do. So from here, you need to select a lead capture type, text code. So if they do the text code, this will allow them to tap on the tour to watch it. Now the voice code, this only reads off the description, so keep that in mind. It does not send a link where they can go watch the tour. Or you can do the bundle. I'm just going to do the text code for now, just to kind of show you what this looks like. Now we have the optional sign writers. These are not signs that we create. These are templates that you can print off and take to your local print shop if you do not already have a design that you are using. I'm just going to check one just to show you how it looks later on. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. So this is how this is going to appear. Now, if you look right here, we have a generate a new code, or you have the option to reuse an old code. So if I wanted to reuse one of the older codes on here, I can actually scroll through, find the ones that I want, and then I can go through and select that one. Or if I want to generate a new code, I can, but I'm just going to use an old code. Let's just say I already had the sign created for it before, and I want to change it. So I'm going to choose that one. You'll see the sign writers down here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit activate. So you'll notice since I did not choose a new code, but one that has already been used before, you'll notice it'll show that the code is now going to be deactivated for this particular listing that it was assigned to before, and then it's going to change it over to our current listing here. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And this is for you to go ahead. This is the number that I chose. Otherwise, it would have created a new one. So you'll have to text this number to this number. This is the body of the message. This is the recipient. So you'll see the lead capture types. It does show purchase. This kind of startles folks. We do not charge for this any longer. This is free. So don't worry about that. It just shows that still, even though we do not charge you. The sign writers you can see here, you can download the image from there if you're wanting to take that to your local print shop. That is still showing this 1003. That is only because that is a test picture. Once you download it, it will have the current code that you have assigned to this tour. After that, I'm just going to go ahead and hit save because I am satisfied with what I got set up. Scrolling down a bit further now, we are still in the marketing section. We are just about done. Order print materials is next. That is just a third-party website. It's actually Express Docs. It's mainly just there in case you need it. You're welcome to check them out. Analytics. Let's pop into there for just a moment. So you'll notice I've already gotten 2 views, but they've been from Paradigm. That's where we looked at the Fusion skin, and that's where we looked at the property site skin. So if you don't like graph view, for example, maybe you're a data person, we can scroll up here, and also you'll see views by month and views by week if you want to see if it's rising or falling in popularity and for what sites. Scroll up here. There is also the data view tab where you can see this here. All right, maybe I want to print this off. Maybe the seller is interested in seeing this. You can print it off if you desire, or email. Okay, you have 3 options in here. What would you like to do? I can send an email now. I can schedule a weekly email to go out to them until the tour is in a sold or an off-market status, or I can manage any scheduled emails that have already been set up. You'll notice that this one's grayed out. It's because this tour is not in an active status, it's in draft. So this is only accessible if the tour is not expired and if it's active. But I would like to show you what send an email now does look like. You can enter in multiple recipients by putting in a comma in between each one, or you can just put the one, and then you can type out an optional message if you desire and include the following link, and then you can send that out. If you schedule it, you will have the option to go through and choose what day you want it to go out. All days of the week are available. Going back over to Lunar Eclipse Drive toward dashboard, we are almost finished. Here we have more resend new tour email. So when this first goes live, it will send you an unbranded and a branded link to your email saying your tour is ready. If for whatever reason, maybe you deleted it, maybe you didn't get it, you can resend this to yourself if you desire. Download media, that is not to download the tour. That is actually to be able to go through and download all the photos or video clips that you may have added into here. So if maybe you are desperately needing those photos, it's time sensitive, and you don't have them on the computer that you're on, you can download them from here. So that's mainly there just in case you need it. All right, scrolling up from here, we are pretty much finished with tour creation and editing. You can always go back to my tours and you can see each one. This is how it appears. You can access it by either clicking on the picture. You'll see how many views and scenes it has, as well as the address. If you click on either, it takes you to the same place. One thing I do want to mention is up here, you'll notice that there's a little, like a series of lines. If you click on that, it gives you a different type of view, but it also shows you if you have any leads and a code. So this is the mobile target code that we just set up. So if you're searching for a certain listing to see if it does have a code, you can find it from here. All right, this is if you wanted to search for a tour. Maybe you have a ton of listings. You can search by many, many different things on here. You'll see that from here. All right, last but not least, what I want to show you, if you click on your name in the upper right, there is a Success Academy. There are a lot of how-to guides, tutorials, videos, and ebooks. And there's even some tips and tricks for social media, so definitely check that out sometime, especially if we are not available. You can check out here. There is a lot of useful information. Kind of think of it like a knowledge base. Otherwise, if you have any questions or concerns, and we are here, you can call us at 800-873-0700. You can choose option 1 for support. You can email us at support@paradigm.com. Or if you look down in the bottom right, there is a live chat button where you can speak with us as well. We are here from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That is Monday through Friday. From there, I do want to thank you for all the time. I appreciate you and taking the time to look over this video. Thanks for watching and hope you have an awesome day.